What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. This week there wasn't really hardly anything in the news. At least I didn't really see anything major politically wise. Again, as always, the far leftists are still trying to destroy this country. I did see that they're going to look into all of them votes because they are now proving that there was, even though they had proved it before, they can't hide from the fact that there was voter fraud during this election, and it's scaring the piss out of the Democrats. I think it's funny. So the far leftists are they're screwed. First thing I want to tell you about is there's a couple things I forgot to mention in the previous video about paranormal investigative TV shows. The first one being Jason Hawes and his crew, Steve Gonzalez, Dave Tango, and now the lovely Sherry. They will no longer be called Ghost Nation. Somehow, I don't know what happened. I don't know if Grant Wilson quit again or what the heck happened. I don't know if they still got beef with Grant Wilson. I don't know what all was going on there. I do know that Sherry had mentioned on her Twitter account, that they are going back to the Ghost Hunter name. So somehow they negotiated with A&E to get back the Ghost Hunter's name, and now it will no longer be called Ghost Nation. They're going back to being called Ghost Hunters. So look forward to that. And then the one thing I really failed to mention, to ask a question from the last video I did, is I always wonder why they feel the need to do investigations at night. My guess is it's for the scare factor, like they're trying to make it more scary with the night vision. They don't need the night vision either. I think it's stupid. They don't need night vision. Number two, they don't have to always do investigations at night because there's plenty of paranormal activity that happens during the day. And last but not least, the third thing is even if it is at night and they're in the building, they can always use the lights. They don't have to turn the lights off. All that is nonsense. Doing all that shit in the dark is just retarded. You're still going to get paranormal activity even if it's not in the dark. It's just for, them to try to get a jump scare out of the audience. That's literally all it is. The next thing I want to talk about is I just got done watching the series Jupiter's Legacy. So many things wrong with this TV show. First of all, Hollywood needs to get off the superhero kick of doing all these superhero shows. I don't mind once in a while, at the theater or something like that, or one or two superhero shows is fine. But it's like that's all they want to come out with anymore, is all these superhero shows. It's starting to get redundant and annoying. Jupiter's Legacy. The show was all over the place. Like, most of it made no sense whatsoever. It was really hard to follow the storyline because they leave so much out. they leave you asking like a shit ton of questions. Like, for instance, the children. When were they conceived? When were they born? Um, why did they wait so long to have children? Uh, or are the children, did they have children, and the children are aging just as slowly, so you know they might be actually really old, uh, but still look young. It doesn't answer any of that. It doesn't answer really what happened to Star Fox or Blue Bolt. Of course, none of this stuff is answered, and I had to go look at look up, backstories about the characters and the comics. And almost everything that's on the show is completely different than what's in the comics. I was shocked. I was like, wow, they really redid all this. Like, none of the backstories to the characters really matched what was going on in the show. And that's why the show made no sense whatsoever. I wish they would have just gone with what was going on in the beginning, how they got their powers and stuff, instead of doing all that flashback bullshit. It was retarded. I could care less about the kids or, what's going on today. I'd rather see how they got the powers and all that crap as time went on. That's what they should have done. Now, I get that supposedly they go to the planet of Jupiter, and the dying race of Jupiter supposedly gives them powers, which again makes no sense whatsoever. Why? Why are they doing it? Why are they giving it to humans? Why? Why? They're not answering anything in this. Whoever wrote this is a retard, because they don't know how to write. They don't explain shit. You don't know nothing what's going on. Who are these villains? Where'd they come from? My guess is, if you watch the show, you see an episode towards the end, like the last episode, I guess. When they get their powers, there's this giant explosion off the island where they get the powers, and it hits the crew of the ship that brought them there, which are a bunch of like rascals, pirates, thugs, that kind of ship and crew. My guess is all the villains came from them, because you see glowing marks on their faces when the wave passes over them. So that's my theory, is that's where all the villains that they keep having to fight come from. I don't know. That's my guess. It's really strange. It's weird. The show don't make any sense whatsoever. Whoever wrote this did a terrible job. Of course, they have to have your token gay character in there, which is supposedly Blue Bolt, which you don't know what happens to him. They just kind of insinuate he disappears. I've been told that some people think he's, Star Fox killed him, but others claim that he's actually still alive, that's not what happened. He just disappeared. Same thing with Star Fox. They get in a big fight, supposedly. He doesn't like the code or whatever, but that's not what happens in the comics. In the comics, they all get in a big fight, and he literally whips all their asses because a mind wave, the older brother, he does stupid shit all the time. Anyways, he starts the fight, and him and George get into it. The rest of the Union get into it, but he nearly whips their ass, and then Utopia pulls off some fucking haymaker or whatever, and finally ends it. So George takes off and disappears. In the show, it makes it look like they killed him or some shit. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. None of what's in the comics is in the show, except for the characters. They just changed the whole story in the background. And like I said, it makes no sense. The costumes are terrible. Oh my God, they're so bad. And I saw people talking about the Eternals costumes. They're just as bad, if not worse. They're really cheesy. The CW costumes are better than that, and that's not saying much. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on Jupiter's Legacy. Did you actually like it, or did you think it was like myself and like most people, it was all over the place? Didn't make any sense. And they didn't answer a bunch of questions. They left so many questions as to what's going on. Let me hear your thoughts on that. Let's get on to your B-movie reviews. Alright, Movieholics, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. This week is Action Week. I went ahead and went with two action classics. Both of them are Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. And I may go through the sequels the next few action weeks, just because both of them have a ton of sequels. So I might watch some of the sequels and do some reviews on them too. The first one is, of course, Kickboxer, one of his more famous ones. It was done in 1989. The lead female in this movie was Rochelle Ashana. It did about 14 million at the box office, roughly around there somewhere, worldwide. So it did okay, but it didn't really do anything major money-wise. But it's become pretty much a martial arts classic film. Everybody pretty much knows about Kickboxer. Most people probably have even seen it. Not everyone, but most people. Basically, the story is basically about two brothers. You have an older brother and then a younger brother, played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Apparently, they have an even younger brother. There's a third brother, but you don't know about him until the sequel, which most of the sequels are about the younger brother. Anyways, you have this gangster type group that has a kickboxing fighter in Thailand named Tao Po or Po or some shit like that, and he like literally kicks everyone's ass at Thai kickboxing. Anyways, there's a challenge issued to Jean-Claude Van Damme's older brother, Eric. His name is Eric, and Jean-Claude Van Damme's character, his brother, his name is Kurt. He helps his older brother train. He's the world champion of kickboxing, at least in the Western Front. So they decide to go to Thailand to face their champion, which is, of course, Tao Po. They go to fight him. Tao Po, he injures Eric, paralyzes him from the waist down during their fight. And of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme, he wants revenge. So he wants to fight him, but he knows he's not good enough yet. So he has to find someone who teaches Thai kickboxing the way the Thai landers train, because it's a different style than Western style. So he finds someone, old man in a hut, wise old man in a hut. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cliche. Anyway, he teaches him and trains him. Now, he kind of there's a romantic side to it too, because he kind of falls in love with the old man's niece, which is played by Rochelle O'Shana. She kind of helps too with the training. Eventually, he gets to fight Taupo, and the gangsters that own Taupo, they are running the fights. They pretty much try to constantly, like Taupo rapes his girl. They kidnap his brother. They're trying to get him to throw the fight, and he won't do it. And he ends up kicking Taupo's ass. And that's literally the end of the movie. As soon as the fight's over, that's the end of the movie. It had some 80s cheese, martial arts 80s cheese in it. But it's still a good, decent film. It's still good to this day. I still enjoyed it, even though I seen it years ago. As far as action flicks go, I give it 2 thumbs up. You should check it out. I definitely highly recommend it. There really wasn't hardly any special effects. The storyline was decent enough. I give it a 3. Overall, the movie was a solid 3. Definitely check it out. It is a classic. The next one I want to talk about, or I watched, was another classic, which has tons of sequels again. But the first one, it pretty much made Jean-Claude Van Damme. It made him. That's how his career took off. It was called Bloodsport, and it was done in 1988. Surprisingly, it did not make that much. It only rounded about 12 million at the box office. It's kind of surprising. I figured it made more than that, but apparently not. Now, the leading lady in this was Leah Ayres. She's the blonde reporter in the movie. Now, of course, you had a couple other well-known actors in there. Forrest Whitaker was in there. And then the guy from Revenge of the Nerds, he was in there. Basically, the whole movie is based around a underground tournament called the Kumite, where mixed martial artists come together with their different styles, and they fight to find out who is the world champion in that particular, whatever style they're using over the other styles. Now you have Bolo Young as the bad guy in this. He's pretty well known as well. He's really popular over there in the East. And you'll see him, from time to time in movies. He's done a number of them. He kind of tries to cheat in the tournament by throwing stuff in Jean-Claude Van Damme's eyes. He's the champion, in several years running, and he wants to retain his championship in the tournament. So he's pretty much doing everything he can to keep that. He knows that Jean-Claude Van Damme, his style is a very rare Japanese style of martial arts, and it's really good, and he knows this. and he tries to prevent him from winning the championship. Uh, During the fight, he throws some crap in his eye, try to blind him. But unknowns to uh, Bolo Young's character, Lee Chung or something like that, Jean-Claude Van Damme's character learned to train blindfolded, so he still whips his ass even though he's blinded. It's a good movie. Like I said, it's probably one of the best martial arts films just because it's a tournament style film. Now, they've tried to do tournament style films before. I don't know what it is, but they just can't seem to get it right. If they do it more like Bloodsport, it'd be better. That's why I like The Quest as well, one of Jean-Claude Van Damme's other movies, where he does a tournament style film. That was a really good movie too, but that's for another time. But if they do it more like this Bloodsport, they'd make much more money out of it, and a lot more people would like it. This is one of those where I definitely recommend and give 2 thumbs up. Like I said, it's a classic martial arts film, action film, one of the best there is. You should definitely check it out. Again, there's no real special effects, unless you're, the blood or whatever, if you want to consider that special effects. As far as the story goes, I definitely give this a solid 4. The story was really great because it's based on a true story. He plays a character, Frank Dukes, which is an actual person. It's based on a true story. So I definitely give this story a solid 4. And the acting was really good. I give it a solid 3. Overall, the movie's a solid 4. Like I said, definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. That is all I have for you this week, Movie Holics. As before, if you have any suggestions of some underrated films or classics that you think I might not have ever heard of or never seen, please leave your suggestions down in the comments below. I'd also like to hear your opinions about what I talked about earlier in the video. Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Until next time, I told you to be told the truth, and you've just been told.